Welcome to Mission Driven Founders, where passion meets purpose. If you're dreaming of starting your own business, whether in wellness, education, or any field where purpose meets impact, you're in the right place. We are going behind the scenes with inspiring entrepreneurs who are not just building brands, but driving real change. Hit subscribe, tap the bell for updates, and stick around. This conversation could be the spark that ignites your journey. Today, we are excited to introduce Natalie Lauraine, multidimensional artist and guide working at the intersection of immersive sound, consciousness, and healing. She is a leading teacher on Insight Timer with over 7,000 five-star reviews. Natalie is also a sober coach to artists and founder of The Joy Media, connecting well-being brands with major festivals and luxury hotels worldwide. Now, let's dive into Natalie's inspiring journey and see how she's contributing to our movement and making the world a better place. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm in LA at the moment. I'm going to get a flight in an hour. So this is my last American duty that I have is to do your podcast, and then I'm back to the Europe.
Oh, I'm honored. We would love to know what first inspired you to share your voice as a healing tool, and how did you turn that passion into such a successful business? Your story will probably inspire those who are just starting their careers or thinking about making a shift into a more mission driven path.
So I got into using my voice when I realized how much it actually changed as I went along my journey, along my kind of spiritual path. My voice completely changed. The more times I meditated, the more times I wasn't using it in negative ways, the more times I was going into silence. I noticed that my voice and the quality of my voice and the tone of my voice started to change and soften. And it's a real kind of mirror to your spiritual path, really. It is how you speak to people, how you communicate. And when I realized that my voice had such an effect on people, that they felt very calm, they felt very relaxed when talking to me because I was pacing myself and toning and really giving myself more time to answer and to show up to life rather than just quickly, answering and moving on to the next. I realized how much space it gave my nervous system as well, which was really important. So then I started using it more and more. A few people were saying, "Oh, can you do a meditation for me?" And I thought, well, I've been meditating for years. I know how, and I started teaching someone, and then I decided to do it on Insight Timer. I got an invite link from them when they first started doing live events, and they said, we'd love you to do some more meditations because I'd recorded a few. And they said, would you like to go live with our audience? And I said, yes. I thought, why not? And then all of a sudden, I had a lot of people around the world all tuning in every Monday, listening to my voice and giving me incredible reviews. And it was the path I was meant to be on, really. So I just followed it. But it was initially through noticing how much I calmed down and how much it could help other people.
That's incredible. And it's so true. When your emotions dictate how you talk to people, how
Mm.
you use your voice. If you're nervous, if you're stressed, if you have anxiety, that
Yeah.
is so true. Wow, amazing. As a leading teacher on Insight Timer with
Mm.
thousands of five-star reviews, you've clearly built a devoted community. Who do you feel is most drawn to your work, and what kind of people come to you for the kind of healing and transformation that you offer?
Um, I get a quite a diverse audience. A lot of my audience are American. I think they love the English accent, so that helps. But a lot of people, I'm very direct in what I talk about, and I'm not very kind of fluffy or too spiritual. I'm very direct, and the answers, and I tell stories when I do meditation. So I'll guide people authentically and originally. Nothing's pre-recorded, nothing's scripted. Everything I do is intuitive. So I go on journeys and I think, oh, where would I like to go today? And I tune in. So I actually get a lot of people who just appreciate the journey and they appreciate the story because they're never going to know where they're going to go. So they're quite free and open-minded people who don't necessarily like the rigid structure or the kind of too spiritual, too esoteric. They want somebody speaking quite pragmatically and just with a bit more joy and fun. which is what I'm known for. I'll sometimes make jokes throughout the meditations and bring in little irony and joy in different places. So and people don't necessarily expect that when they go on a meditation journey. So yeah, I get a lot of comments about that.
It's very unique and you make it very dynamic and engaging for everyone listening. I love that. Oh my goodness. And I love meditation, but for me, it was really hard also to get into meditation because of how it was formatted, right? The traditional
Mhm.
way. But what you do is incredible. Everybody should try your meditation at least once and they'll probably get hooked.
Yeah, I'll post a sleep one actually. A good popular one that I have is a sleep meditation. Again, it's nothing spiritual. There's no music to my meditations. There's just the voice and the silence and the space. So that as well, a lot of people don't like music through meditation because a lot of people use meditation music that doesn't necessarily fit the context or the words, or it can be quite distracting. And sometimes if they're not musically trained, they don't put the meditation and the music together in the right way. So I love to use just sound, like the silence and the sound of my voice. So a lot of people appreciate that. So I will actually send you a link to that so people can listen to the sleep one. And it's about 15 minutes long, but most people can't get to the end of it. They're out before I've finished. So
Oh my
I have a
gosh.
good way to send people to sleep.
Please send that, and we'll put the link on our YouTube channel and also on the podcast on all
Mhm.
platforms. So,
Great. Thank you.
listeners often describe profound shifts when experiencing your meditations, feeling calm, high, or transported. Can you take us behind the scenes of your creative process? What goes
Mhm.
into preparing or creating a meditation that has that kind of impact?
Mhm. There's two things I do. One, I don't script anything. Never write anything down and say, okay, this is going to be the meditation. And two, when I record, I record very late at night. So everything's very calm, very quiet in my entire environment. Sometimes I go into the studio and record in the spatial sound studios. Again, it's usually late at night. But most of the time when I record things, it is between the hours of kind of like 11 and 3 a.m. I feel like I'm much calmer and I'm more connected to myself through those hours. I don't really like staying up late at night at all, but whenever there's a meditation coming, I get a creative flow and it just carries me through and I just follow that energy. But nothing is ever scripted. I go with how I feel. So I'll close my eyes and I'll be in meditation for myself and see what wants to come through. And I imagine I'm very good at imagining and describing what I can see and feel. So I bring that into the meditation itself. So I don't have a creative writing process in any way. It's more of an intuitive sit down with myself and feel. And then whatever I'm feeling like I did one, I rehearsed something actually that was late at night in the car. And it's something I want to record properly when I get back. But again, I want to record it from the car. And it's this idea of when you get into a car and then you just start the engine and you move, there's actually a space from when you get in the car and you close the door and you sit, and before you go anywhere, there's this place where you can really go, "Oh, I'm out, I'm inside, away from the world outside." You're just about to go on a journey, which you relatively do need to be calm for when you're driving. You need to not go in haste and in anxiety. It's actually just sitting in the car and realizing. And a lot of people, when they get home from work before they go into the house, having that opportunity to just sit in the car and not do anything for a few moments. That's one of the meditations I'm working on at the moment, is to really get the essence of the car and that privacy that you feel, because it's a sacred space, but people don't use it in that way. So a lot of my meditations are very unusual. Like I obviously have the sleep one, but then the other one that I'm about to release is the journaling one that I've done for like a Sunday morning. It can be any morning, but I called it like a Sunday morning journal. And the other one is for laying on the sofa. There's another one for the car. There's just different moments in life where you don't have to necessarily be meditating every single morning. It can be in the moments of the day that you find and that you can just sit still. And the car one for me is I've sat in the car so many times and just processed what I'm feeling, or just thought to myself, oh, or, when you close the door and there's that silence before you turn the engine on, before you make the noise and go somewhere, there's that sacred spot in the middle where you can just not even put your seatbelt on, you can just rest. And I think a lot of people experience that, but they don't necessarily use it in the right way. They might feel relieved in some way just from closing the car door from the outside world, but to actually pause before you go on to your next task, or before you pick up your kids, or before you go into the house with the shopping, just to take that little cube of space and use it. or your meditation. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes long. It could be 3 minutes, but it's important to know that you can meditate anywhere at any time in any environment.
The car meditation is something really interesting because I was probably doing that without realizing. Because whenever I was at a work meeting or something that was very chaotic, like chaotic for your brain, but not like not necessarily stressful, but a lot of going on, I would come home, I would sit in the garage for a while so that I could breathe and
Mhm.
refresh and restart so that I could come into my next chaos, which was a household with pets and kids and
Yeah.
start dinner and all that bedtime routine. So it's really interesting that you say that because I never thought that I was meditating doing that, but I actually was because I was sitting down and I was trying to, like reprogram my brain, my emotional state to start the second phase of that day, which was, the different kind of chaos in my
Yeah.
day. I love that. That's really fantastic. And I'm going to start doing more of that because you're
Good.
saying this is meditation. This is going to be my next meditation. And I love meditating in the
Mm.
morning, in the evening, but this one is a special one. And every journey has challenges. What has been one of the most defining obstacles you faced in your work, and how did you push through it? Also, what did that experience teach you about resilience and staying true to your mission?
I think the biggest thing is having the confidence to do what you're good at and to do what you love. Um, especially around meditation, unless you're a lot older and had, I am actually 41, so I'm much older than I look, but I've had a lot of experience meditating, and it got me through the darkest times of my existence so far. But I still didn't see myself as a monk or someone that, had been living on a mountain, or someone, an older woman who's got a ashram somewhere, or living on a mountain and just in constant peace. I've been living in cities and in hectic places. So I kind of didn't really want to put myself into meditation because I was like, I wonder if people say, oh, she's meditation teacher, or she can do meditation, her life's chaotic. But actually it's not chaotic. It's quite a flow, my life, and I, very much enjoy it. But I was scared of the judgment of what people might think, but what I realized was actually I can meditate in any environment. I don't need a mountain. I don't need an ashram. I can meditate on the tube. I can meditate in a car. I can meditate when it's really busy. I can meditate in a city. So that skill itself is important, and to be able to teach people this bite-sized meditation, and to also not worry about people judging you. That's been a big thing for me because I've always been quite tall. I've been quite present. I've been quite loud. I've always been a speaker and talking, and people are always, oh, you've always got something to say. And I'm like, yeah, I have. And I felt, too big and too much and too strong for a lot of situations. But now I realize actually I needed to carve my own space in those environments and be myself, whereas I would shy away from that and shy away from the judgments. And also for a long time, I didn't have any certificates around meditation. Now I have, I've done more, I've gone deeper into that. But for a long time when I was teaching people, I didn't have any certificates, but they were having amazing experiences. And I think a certificate for meditation is it's interesting, because there are such things out there and you can go and learn, but it doesn't make you necessarily any better than anyone else. Um, it means that you've learned something, but meditation can be done by a child and there's no certificate involved. Um, but no, for me, I feel there was a big part of me that didn't feel, because I didn't have the necessary living on a mountain or certificate, that was a challenge for me. But now I don't care at all. I do have what I need, and I've got the experience, and I help a lot of people doing it. So it's been a while to become okay with that, and just to get on with it, and not worry about other people's opinions, which is one of the biggest things in life, is not really to take care of anybody else's judgments, just to, and also to release your own judgments. I was good enough, and I didn't think I was, and that's my own journey. So
You
yeah,
think
it's interesting.
that was your version of the imposter syndrome?
Totally, totally.
And your intuition, you can't learn that in any school, college, post graduation, MBA, anything. Your intuition comes from within, right?
Yeah.
You don't get
Yeah,
that.
and there's no certificate that can anybody, no one can give you a stamp of approval or a certificate for your intuition. It's tutoring yourself from within, and no one else can go there. That's just your space.
So you do believe that the results you were seeing on people that you were helping, gave you the confidence to continue your work on your path?
Yeah. I mean, the reviews I was getting and all the responses on Insight Timer, I've got over 7,000 5-star reviews. I didn't know that for a while. And, I was not really looking at the reviews. I was just like responding back to them, but I never looked at the number. And it was in a portal on Insight Timer where I wasn't really looking at the stats. And then I gave up for a little while working on another project that I had. And then I went back into it and saw that all of my meditations, even when I wasn't doing the lives, people were still reviewing. So yeah, it brought back a lot of confidence for me.
That's incredible. Incredible. So tell me a little bit about the work you do with hotels. That was so interesting. The hotels, the radio station, and also Joy Media.
Yeah, so I actually have my meditations in the Mondrian Hotel in Ibiza. Thank you. And I got them in there through a friend of mine who experienced my sleep meditation. And he's like, oh my God, all of our clients at the hotel need to have this meditation. So I created actually a number of different meditations, this custom made for the hotel, which is where I met you, actually.
Yes,
Forgot
in
about that.
Ibiza, yes.
Yeah, the Mondrian Hotel in Ibiza. And then, it's gone on from there. There are other hotels, there's other projects, there's other places for me to get my voice into, which I'm really excited about. And I'm now responding to everyone and kind of going through the motions of getting that done. And having my voice in hotels has been really interesting because it's an ideal place really to have meditations for you to have, and you go, and a lot of people now are doing wellness travel. So to actually go to a room that has custom made meditations in there is a really nice kind of fit, which I love to do. And then Joy Media, so that is my media agency. So I bring well-being and music. So I'm in the music industry as well, especially in Ibiza, in the big kind of dance, EDM and dance space. I used to be a DJ and a radio presenter, and I have a lot of contacts. And I know one of the biggest things is mental health problems in the music industry. And I have actionable ways that people can reduce that overwhelm. So I put together Joy Media in my head, and an old friend of mine connected with me, and we were going to do a project a while ago. And she was like, let's do this. And so we just put our kind of stuff together, and she does all the SEO and making sure our brands that we're working with are really in their game, and we do all this digital social media marketing. But I do all the visioning and placing all these wellness brands in the music industry with all the artists, and we've decided to come up with a concept for the Joy Room. So we take over a green room, which is an artist green room in a festival, and we will put in there non-alcoholic drinks, breathwork practitioners, vitamin drip doctors, and hearing specialists in the green room at a festival. So artists now have a choice not to drink alcohol and do drugs when they come to a festival and do their performance. They have an option to be able to choose a healthier tour rather than actually something else. So a lot of the clients that we bring on for the green room, which is now the Joy Room, we actually help them with growing their brand out into these festivals and into these spaces. So it's largely still in wellness, still in well-being, but in a bit more of a kind of joyful space, because festivals are incredible and there's a lot of high energy. But for artists to handle that level of energy, usually they need some kind of stimulant. So if we can provide that stimulant in some authentic way that's healthier for them, which seems to be working very well. We've got lots of festivals lined up, and yeah, I'm very happy with that. And again, it's bringing in the bridging the just the options for people to choose wellness over their existing alcohol choices or drugs.
That is incredible work. And is that what you did at the Burning Man?
No, Burning Man was actually a personal experience to go. I mean, I met a lot of contacts there for the project, but Burning Man itself was a personal experience. I've always wanted to go, and then thought, you know what, it's too much. And it's not that I've always wanted to go. I never really wanted to go, but I always thought if it came around, I would, And then this year it came around. This was an extremely intense time. It was I'm very, very grateful that it took me 14 days to actually go crazy. Most of the time I was okay there, but on day 14 I might have got a little bit crazy. But I was sober the whole time, so I didn't have the distractions. Everybody else I spoke to had done some form of drugs or stimulants or taken themselves somewhere with alcohol to handle the stress that they were going through, and I was sober every day. So I had a very strong, intense experience without any form of escape. Um, and that was intense. But yeah, but I was very proud that it actually did take me 14 days to get fully angry, because for the first 14 days I thought I would have got angrier before. We had a camp leader that wasn't a leader, and it was like she'd ordered camping gear for her kids in the backyard. It was like we actually had meant to have 70 people in the desert, And it was just a lack of ordering and a lack of structure, and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. We had three major dust storms. We had the biggest dust storm Burning Man had ever seen on the literally second day of me being there. And I love storms, and I'd love to be a storm chaser. I was like really excited. But still, it was a dust storm, we'd never had that environment. So it was a very intense environment, and I made it out alive. But yeah, I saw my rage and my anger at the end, and I was shaking. The rage and the anger came through, and then I sat there on the curb in this car park after I'd gone crazy and just really just like shouting and thinking, "Oh my God, I'm teaching meditation, and I shouldn't be getting this anger." I was like, "No, you need to be in touch with this side of yourself. This is a part of who you are." And then I looked to my left, and it was like God was playing a joke, because there was a tattoo shop called Under Your Skin, and I was like, "Yeah, everything is getting under my skin." So I found the humor in my rage, but if without the meditation, there's no way I would have kept my cool for 14 days. Like, no way.
14 days is a lot of time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have kept my cool for 14 days. And
Yeah.
that's when meditation comes into place, really, because, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're humans and we have to also embrace what we're feeling, right?
Yeah.
Embrace so that we can understand. It's all part of the awareness, right?
Yeah. I got into the enjoyment, I think, halfway through my rage. I went from rage to I'm loving expressing this, and just went all in. And I was venomous. I was swearing. My friends were looking at me, and bless them, they said afterwards, they're like, "We have never," because they'd never seen me go like that at all. And that's what I used to be like when I was younger. That's why I got into meditation. I used to be quite angry and tap into things. But they were like, "We've never seen you like that. We're so shocked." And all of them were, really apologetic that they didn't help at the moment that I needed it. But I do understand the level of shock they went into, because even I was shocked. But the under your skin comment at the end just made it fun. And I just was like, okay, cool. Because we all have that side of us that just loses our mind at some point. But I'd not seen that side of me for a long time, and I'm glad it got expressed. I don't want it all the time, but it's definitely still there. There's no denying that.
You are so authentic. I love how, upfront, honest, authentic you just share your raw self. And it's true, people, we are not, like, she's not a guru that is God and perfect. She's a human being that happens to have a very good talent to help other people ground and relax and find their calm. And even people who are calm can lose their calm, right? It's
Oh,
part
for
of
sure.
it. I
That
love this.
definitely happened.
So you are really into the to what we call at Crunchy Mama Box the giving back chain, where brands and consumers come together to support the planet and the community, creating a ripple effect of impact. That's what your work does, and that's where your authenticity comes in and spreads that ripple effect of people. We can be humans, right? We
Yeah.
can be humans, and we can help other humans just by
Mhm.
doing our part. And your part is huge in humanity. You're helping so many people, and the more you spread your work through hotels and events and radio stations and everywhere in the world that you step foot in, you are creating a huge ripple effect, and I love that.
Thank you. It's a fun journey.
It really sounds like a fun journey. I love it. I think I'm going to join you in some events that you do next, because I
I
want to
love that. Yeah, we should
And
definitely.
at Crunchy Mama Box, we also honor leaders who embody transparency, education, sustainability, and social impact through our CMB certification program. From your perspective, how can initiatives like this empower artists and wellness leaders to amplify their reach and impact? Do you think this holistic certification, which is something also very new to the market, no one has done this before, to recognize, to honor the brands and the professionals who are
Yeah.
really creating an impact? What do you think about this?
I think it's very needed. I had my own torture with regards to certificates, and trying to put a certificate on my life experience was very difficult for me. And I still don't necessarily think every certain thing needs a certificate, but you do need a level of experience, because out there at the moment, one of the things that really has got to me in the spiritual world, uh, for myself and for other people, is we only do in life what we need. You know, when we teach, it's what we need. I needed meditation more than ever. It's what I need. When some people go through abuse, they need to heal. They learn that they could have actually got out of this situation. Then they want to share that skill with other people. So a lot of people, I call it half-baked method. And I had a workshop around this. And essentially, a lot of people go on their spiritual path, they go on their healing path, and then instantly, because they felt some kind of relief, they want to then give that back to someone and they go and teach. But they're not necessarily ready to teach at that level. And there's an ego drive of being the healer that they can move forward with. There's an ego drive of like, oh, I've created this product, it's helped me, but it's not 100% ready yet. Got all the ingredients, it's got everything you could possibly need, but it's coming out of the oven too early. And they're in this half-baked stage, where they have everything that they need, but they're not quite ready to teach yet. And they're not necessarily quite ready to go to market yet. There's still work to be done. And a lot of projects that are amazing fail because they come out of the oven too early. And I think that is, you know, it's part of life, but I think having something to reach for, some kind of certificate or some kind of certification in some way that recognizes the level and the years worth of experience that has been in place in order for that brand or that product or that service to come out, is actually a very good measure. And the authenticity of that, people are looking for certifications and authenticity because there is so much out there that isn't necessarily ready, or if it, you know, even if someone's been doing it a long time, they necessarily haven't been doing it well. And we live in a world where not everybody is truthful. So some people believe they are doing a good thing, but because no one's ever given them the right feedback, because we are a very polite society, or we're very angry most of the time. But when it comes to someone saying, "Oh, what did you think?" or "How did you feel?" Someone's like, "Yeah, it's great, thanks, bye." But then when they close the door, they would never go back to that person, or they would never buy that brand again, because we feel so uncomfortable in giving authentic reviews and advice. And a lot of the time when we do give authentic reviews and advice, we don't know how to, because we don't understand communication. So we give it in a way where it's like, "No, that's terrible, I wouldn't use that." And it comes with this horrible rejection tone. So then there's no growth because you're now rejected and you feel uncomfortable and you're in an awkward space. It can be very harsh. So I think, you know, giving authentic, honest reviews from a place of loving kindness is one thing, you know, humanity really needs to learn how to do, because then we would find a lot more authenticity in the products that we're buying. So I love what you do. And I looked on the website and I went through when I first met you, you'd sent me a link. And I think it's a great idea. I don't see there's any problem with it. I think we need more of it. And it, you know, it's what we do with food. We looked at the label. You know, we need to be doing that on everything.
True. And what you said is so true about the rejection. And we try to do this a lot at Crunchy Mom Box, not reject brands, not judge people, judge professionals. So that's why when we created this certification, I was like, we cannot just say boom, rejected, stamp rejected. We
Yeah.
created the path to qualify, because there are a lot of brands that come to us and they
Mm-hmm.
ask, okay, my formula is not 100% clean. How can I clean it up? Can you help us clean this up?
Yeah.
So if we just rejected that brand who is trying to be more sustainable, use more organic ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
what would happen? We would just reject. And where's the movement here? So our movement is to really help brands that want to go on the path to qualify and say, hey, let's work together, let's clean that formula, let's find sustainable packaging, because that's what we have to do. We're here to contribute, not to
Mm.
just judge, right, and reject.
Yeah.
And it's all with love,
Exactly.
right? We have to do things with love. Oh my gosh, I just loved this conversation, meeting you. Everything is like synchronicity. I don't know how we ended up meeting. I mean, we met at the hotel.
I think it was your daughter that liked Sarah's art.
Yes,
That
yes.
was
My
like, yeah.
daughter loves art and I love art too. And Sarah was creating her beautiful art that, oh my gosh, I
Mm.
can't wait to have her on the podcast also with her augmented reality
Fascinating.
technology.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then I was like, and then you had a little puppy with you also, your dog, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
love
It's a
dogs.
house dog,
So
the housemate's dog, and she just follows me everywhere. So yeah, that dog's got me into some incredible situations. I'll tell you, she's amazing and gets so much attention.
I love that. I love
Right.
dogs. And anyway, I think this was amazing. Thank you so much, Natalie, for
Thank you.
sharing your inspiring journey and for all the work that you do to create a more conscious world. You've
Thank you
shown
so
us
much.
how businesses can truly be a force for good.
Thank you. This is great, and it's aligned. I think what the work that you're doing is incredible. So
It
congratulations on.
really is. We are so aligned. I love when I meet people that have the same values, the same mission. I love that. And to everyone watching, remember that every choice we make can shape the future. So let's choose wisely, live intentionally, and support those who are making a difference. So stay inspired, stay motivated, and let's keep building a brighter future together.